Hello, everyone. Oh, there we go. Hello, everyone. I'm Justin Maxwell. Really excited to be here. I have Jordon Comstock, the CEO of Boom Cloud, with us today. And I'm really excited for this conversation because Boom Cloud fits in really well with our philosophy of transforming expenses into wealth and helping free up cash flow, helping find dollars that dentists, doctors did not know were available, and bringing those back into your ecosystem so that you can control them. So I'm really grateful that Jordon is with us today. Thank you, Jordon, and I'm glad you're here.
Yeah, man. Thanks for bringing me on the show. I'm super pumped to be talking about this stuff. I can talk about it all day.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm really excited. I think I think our listeners are really going to appreciate what you have to say. So as we jump into this, can you just explain what is it that Boom Cloud does and who are you and how did you get into Boom Cloud? How did you
Sure.
even start this? What is it?
Yeah. So I'll start with Boom Cloud. Boom Cloud is a software platform that helps practices create, organize, and grow dental membership programs. Or if you're outside of dentistry, membership plans for your service-based business, right? Like if you're a vet or an optometrist, but primarily we're in the dental market. So we help practices create these membership plans. Think Amazon Prime, but for your practice, where patients pay a monthly or yearly subscription fee in exchange for, savings and included benefits like exams and x-rays and things like that. So it's kind of like a loyalty program for the practice, but that's what our software does. How I got started doing this, I used to manage my dad's dental lab, and we were very close with our clients who were dentists, right, doing restorative care. And I would talk to a lot of our clients at the dental lab, and they would always vent to me about dental insurance and how horrible it is and difficult it is to work with. And at the same time, my mom is an office manager for a dental office, so I heard it from that end too. A couple of swear words though,
Right.
from her
Yeah.
about working with insurance. And I'm like, man, this is really interesting. It seems like everybody has the same problem with insurance. There's got to be a better way to go about this. And I read a book, which I highly recommend the listeners read. It's called The Automatic Customer, how to create subscription revenue in any industry. I read that book, and literally the next week I walked into one of our clients who owned an 8-location dental office, and they had just launched their very first membership plan. Now, nobody was talking about membership plans back then. This was end of 2014, I believe.
Got it.
And it fascinated me that they had launched something like this. And I just started asking questions. I was curious and said, why are you doing this? What are the benefits? And like, we're generating recurring revenue from our patient base, which is amazing. And we're also at the same time providing them a win-win solution for our patients to get savings and just preventative care maintenance. And we're able to cut out PPOs. And I'm like, man, this is amazing. And I asked the CEO of this 8-location dental office, I'm like, how are you guys managing it? And then they pull out a binder and they just start flipping through the pages. And they're like, yeah, all of our members are in this binder. And I'm like, wow, we're in the 21st century. Like there's got to be a better way to do that, right? And I asked them the time I studied, as I was working at the dental lab, I studied marketing and web development. Now I'm not a programmer, but I wanted to study web development because I knew I wanted to start a tech company. So I asked the CEO, I'm like, hey, would it be cool if I built a software to help you manage your entire membership plan for all of your 8 locations? And they're like, yeah, we would love, someone to look into how we can better manage that. So that's how I got started with Boom Cloud. And literally after that, maybe it took a year, and we were 2016-ish. We had launched and started a new journey in the dental industry. And now we've been the longest provider, most experienced software provider that helps practices grow their membership plans. So that's how I got started in it.
Oh, that's awesome. I think that's extraordinary. Like that, I really love entrepreneurial stories where it highlights like a problem that needs to be solved and someone solves
Yeah.
that problem. Like that's what entrepreneurship is. And I really resonate with that because it resonates with our doctors because they're all entrepreneurs too. Some of them don't
Sure.
realize that they are, but they all
Yeah.
absolutely are entrepreneurs. And they didn't realize that when they got into it, I
Problems
don't
are
think.
coming. Yeah. Problems are coming into the office every day, and it's your job to figure out a solution to fix them, right?
Right, exactly.
They're just
So
dental problems.
right, exactly. Yeah, same thing. So
Yeah.
with what BoomCloud offers, the membership plan, what is it doing for doctors? You have hundreds of clients. You're one of the you said you're the largest, the earliest adopter in the space of membership plan software.
hmm
What do you see from your doctors? What is the impact that it's having on their offices as they implement this membership plan and your software?
Yeah. So I look at it a couple different ways. When a practice implements a dental membership program within their business, number one, you are adding a new business model to your practice, which is why I recommend everyone read that automatic customer book I mentioned, because it gets you thinking the right mindset on how to manage subscription revenue, because it is a little different than the one-time transactional revenue that most practices are dealing with. But the first thing that comes in mind is when you implement a membership program in your practice, you actually build a patient attraction system, right? Meaning you can attract uninsured patients or inactive patients within your office and within your local area with your membership plan offering, right? So you kind of level up your marketing systems when you have a membership program in your practice. The second thing it does is it generates a robust patient loyalty system, right? Once you acquire that patient or get that patient to commit to your practice, it then builds that preventative care loyalty program is how we look at it. Whether they come into your office or not, they're committing with their wallet is typically how I talk about it. When they're subscribing to your practice, it's better than a verbal commitment. It's a wallet commitment,
Right. Yeah.
um, which generates predictable recurring revenue for the practice. Which, when you think of like the insurance model and why most insurance companies have the biggest buildings in the state that you live in, it's because they understand the power of subscriptions, right? And all a membership program does is take that great business model and puts it into the practice owner's hands, which I think is way better because as a practice owner, you are developing a direct relationship with the patient. You know the patient versus the insurance companies don't. They're just a number, right?
Yeah.
For the insurance company. You know the patient, so you can help that patient in a lot of different ways, within your membership program, but there's also, you can add extras. If you know that a patient has been committed for a certain amount of time, you may say, well, we'll give you a little extra discounts on the service you need because you've been loyal, right? So you can tailor your relationship based off of your patient base, where you can't with insurance. Insurance is, you got a contract between the insurance company and the patient, and you got to follow it, where it's just a little bit more flexible when it comes to membership plan patients. But that recurring revenue is probably one of the best business models that you can create in your practice. We have practices that literally generate uh, over $1 million a year just from their membership fees, which is really fascinating to me. And obviously, we have ranges where practices are generating anywhere from $5,000 a month to and up, right?
Right.
It
Yep.
just depends on where they're at in the journey. But that recurring revenue is really critical from a business component or standpoint, because it allows your practice to have that predictable cash flow. We've seen in most practices you deal with feast and famine periods. Typically, April is a famine period where patients aren't going to the office as much. September, or they also call it Sucktember,
Right.
is another famine period. Um, July is another one that we've seen with our data. So you have these feast and famine periods in dentistry. And, as I managed a dental lab on the restorative care side, we would see those trends too, because restorative care would go down. The beautiful thing about recurring revenue through membership plans is that once you build it up to enough monthly recurring revenue that maybe is covering your overhead or your just all your costs, your employee costs and everything, that's a really powerful position to be in as a practice owner, because now you're able to sleep better at night from a
Right.
cash flow standpoint. you have cash infusions coming in through your membership plan that maybe cover all your payroll costs. So now you can focus on really investing into your practice and to, helping your patients and having a great business model. So I love recurring revenue because of that. The last thing it does is help build the valuation
Yeah.
of the practice. Meaning, if one day most practice owners are going to sell their practice to somebody or to some entity, and the most successful practices that have membership programs, they can, highlight that type of revenue stream in the practice and receive a premium for that revenue stream, which is really important. If you think about it, those membership patients, I talk a lot about revenue, right? Which is great. Revenue is a tool. That's how I look at it. All it is just a tool for a business or individual to live a better life, right?
Right. Yeah.
Or have more resources. The cool thing about membership plans is that it aligns with the practice, right? Giving them a great revenue tool, but then it also aligns to and balances the need to help patients, right? Get the quality care they need and receive some savings and included benefits, which is one of my favorite parts of it. Very, very great business to patient alignment is kind of how I look at it. But that recurring revenue is really important. A lot of practices will say they have membership plans, but what they really have is a cash discount plan, which is great. It's better than nothing. But the subscription revenue, the recurring revenue, is really important because of that commitment of the wallet phrase that I mentioned earlier. And typically we see that membership patients accept treatment 3 times more, roughly 3 to 3.5 times more than non-members, meaning they're saying, yeah, I'll get that crown if I need a crown because I know that I'm going to get some type of savings as a loyal member.
Right.
Right. So if you look at what a membership program does in your practice, it helps you attract, retain, and expand the patient journey, right, within your practice, which is really powerful. We call it the full revenue funnel of the practice, or
Right.
uh, what we call boom cloud. Behind the scenes here is revenue as a service. We don't consider ourselves a software as a service, that's my industry, right? They
Right.
call it SaaS,
Yeah.
software as a service. We call ourselves revenue as a service for these practices because it just is a really clearly baked revenue funnel that helps both practice and patients. So that's what they get when they start a membership program. And Boom Cloud obviously is a software tool that helps them manage every single component of what I just talked about.
Right. No, I really think that that's powerful. And I really think that people underestimate how big of a difference recurring revenue makes on their valuation. I know you mentioned that, but it makes a
Yes.
huge difference. Like it's something that you will get significantly more a bigger multiplier just because you have a solid, consistent base of recurring revenue because
Oh
it's
yeah.
guaranteed cash flow for the new buyer and they can count on it and they know it's coming in and they don't have to go find new patients. They already know that it's there, which
Yeah.
makes it attractive to buy.
And the reason why it makes it attractive to buy is because typically in a traditional sell of a dental practice to a new dentist, there's a lot of patient attrition that
Right.
happens because they're like, well, we like the old guy. That was the relationship that we had. Right. And I mean, this happened to one of my good buddies. He bought a fee for service practice and in his first year saw a lot of patient attrition. And it's like, whoa, I paid all this money for this practice at that valuation with
Right.
those patients, and now they're gone because there was no mechanism to retain them from a transition, right? That's one of the reasons why I love membership plans from that standpoint of the practice journey, but it really covers every piece of the patient and transaction or transition of a dental practice journey, right? It really helps with every component. It is one of the I would say a lot of practice owners don't fully understand uh, the engine that they're installing in their business machine.
Right.
It really helps a lot in all those different areas.
So is a dentist that implements Boom Cloud, are they able
Hmm.
to entirely dump dental insurance, or do they have to rely on that still, or are they able to shift completely over to membership plan and not even have to worry about insurance?
So that really depends. Awesome question. That really depends on where the practice is in the PPO journey, the insurance journey, right? If they're already a completely fee-for-service office, it allows them to maintain that and even expand that, because one of the biggest problems when you become a fee-for-service practice and you're out of network, a patient can choose to go, like, you can give them a treatment plan and they can say, well, I'm not going to get it from you. I'm going to go get it from the dentist that's in network, and I'm going to get these discounts, right? So a fee-for-service practice definitely needs a membership program because of that loyalty issue that they may run into when it's like when the patient may get sticker shock when they see how much an implant is, and then say, well, I'm just going to go in network to maximize all my benefits, right? Which isn't much.
Right.
If you're going to get an implant, it's not going to do much. we'll say that. But most practice, like 95%, probably more, of practices that come to us, their strategy is to begin, or they're in the beginning stages of reducing dependence on PPOs, insurance contracts. So yes, it definitely helps with that. And if you think about it, we have practices that they first start, they get their membership program, they target their existing uninsured patients and their existing inactive patients, which is the low-hanging fruit. And they get those patients signed up to the membership program, turning them into a subscription base. What they can do next is then say, and we have tools in our software that will identify what patients are on what PPO plan. They can then say, well, what PPO plan pays best out of network, and how many of our patients are on that PPO plan? Let's drop that plan and send messages through BoomCloud software. We actually have a function in our software we call it the PPO reducer. I wanted to call it the PPO killer, but my legal team said no. Legal team said no, but I'll still share that on podcasts.
Right. Yeah.
So we have a PPO reducer tool in our software that will say, okay, let's look at this plan. How many patients are on it? We know that the out-of-network benefits are greater when we go out of network with this plan. Let's use BoomCloud to message these patients, target these patients, and convert them over to a membership plan and drop the contract. So a lot of practices are doing things like that in our platform, which I think is amazing. So I would say that most practices are becoming more hybrid practices,
Cool.
where they're partially fee-for-service and partially with some PPOs. It seems like there's a couple plans out there they're hard or scary for practices to drop.
Right.
Now, that is fear-based thinking and maybe distorted thinking. I like to look at the data and say, okay, if I do drop this practice and maybe we do lose 10% of those patients, the existing base is going to pay me
way more,
the practice more, which, basically cancels those losses out.
Yeah. So let me see if I can understand this really well. So essentially is what BoomCloud is trying to do is they're trying to take dollars that were going to a PPO or an insurance company. They're trying to get those dollars back into the business owner's hands versus it being diluted through that process. They get to get it directly. So they're keeping control. I really hope that business owners can sense the abundant mindset of this, because you said it dead on. People are really going to want to hold on to that safety and security of the insurance company.
Mm-hmm.
But my vision
is it really safe?
Is it really safe? Right? They're controlling everything. They're holding you back. You can burst through and control your own stuff and be in charge and bring more value to your patients, and you're getting those dollars instead. Like, I think it's a huge mindset shift that can translate into a lot of wealth created. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. And if you think about it, the average practice, I think, writes off like $400,000 a year because they're in network or in contract with PPOs and insurance plans. Do the math on that over a lifetime of practice ownership. I mean, you're in what, 10 million plus in revenue not collected that could have gone to
anything,
more retirement,
retirement, more equipment, better employees,
or all of the above, right? Like we could balance out that, let's just say it's, I think on average is like $10+ million in lost revenue we'll call it lost revenue because of the PPO dotted line contract. um,
And I know,
Man,
and I
that's
know
a lot.
a lot of doctors are afraid. Like this is a mindset they also have to get over because people will think, well, I'm making that more money, which means to pay more taxes. But that just means you can
Sure.
be more aggressive on your proactive tax planning, and you can keep more
Yeah.
of those dollars anyway. But you're earning because you got taxed more, it's because you earned more. Never let the tax tail dictate what you're doing in your decision making.
Yeah. Now you sound like my tax strategist.
Right.
Yeah. He said that exact same quote to me a while back. But yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, that influx of cash, let's say that you're able to drop all the PPOs and all of a sudden there's $400,000 of new revenue from that because you're not writing it off. Well, that's great. Go buy a Serac machine, go buy a new laser, whatever you want, right?
Right. Use it for
or
something productive.
or yeah, with
Something
that
fun
new
too.
revenue, yeah, or if that new revenue, take it as income at the end of the year and put it towards retirement planning, depending on where you're at in your journey, right? That if you think about that, that's a large sum of money that could build wealth for you
Very quickly.
for decades, for generations. If you think about that, if you really took that 10 million roughly that you're losing out over a lifetime of practice ownership, that's generational wealth right there.
Yeah. Yep.
you know.
And
So yes, that's the idea of Boom Cloud, is to help empower the practices and help them, with a wealth mindset.
yeah. I really like that because that's why I wanted. That was the key. That was the key reason I was attracted to what you guys are doing because you're finding a
Sure.
dollar that doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to leave the business owner,
Sure.
and it's
Yeah.
now brought back into their ecosystem. And if they can really catch that vision, they absolutely can create generational wealth
Oh
just with
yeah.
those dollars. They don't have to save anything else, but add that on top
Sure.
of their savings, and it's going to blow the roof off of what they thought their maximum potential was, and it
Sure.
can change lives forever. So I
It
hope
really
that
can.
people can sense it. Just because dentistry is so lucrative, you're already making a ton of money, and this is just another way to bring in more and to have more security, and to just crush it more. Think bigger, go
Yeah.
bigger, help more people.
Absolutely.
So I
It's a
really appreciate you being on today. Is there anything else that you think we haven't talked about yet that would be a big win for our listeners to know, our dentists and that are listening to this?
Yeah, I always like to talk about like what it's really easy to talk about membership plans. The hardest part is really taking what we've talked about today, implementing it and taking action and getting like some of the results that we're seeing in the industry, like the $1 million practice, right? Or the $1 million membership plan practice, where the practice that I've seen, well, there's many now, but the one that I'm thinking about, they really took uh, the concept of a membership plan seriously and saw it as both a win-win for the practice and the patients. And they developed marketing strategies and current adoption strategies with their existing patient base. In 18 months, they literally went from zero to $1 million in annual recurring revenue from just subscription fees. That's not off of restorative care. We can add that revenue in later, and you can see how much they're generating, as a whole. But I'm isolating the number of membership revenue, right? $1 million in recurring revenue. So what did this practice do to achieve that type of success? Well, first, they looked at their membership program as a marketing strategy, and they deployed marketing efforts to attract new patients. And then they deployed marketing efforts to attract existing patients to join their membership program, which is easy to think about. It's doing like text campaigns and email campaigns to your existing base to educate them on what a membership program is and why it's going to be beneficial when they join. Same thing, you can use like SEO, Google search ads, direct mail postcards to like the 55 and up communities where most likely those people have lost their dental benefits because they're retiring or about to retire, retired or about to retire. You can do certain marketing campaigns to drive the masses to join your membership program in addition to internal marketing. I would say one of the most successful things you can do when you implement a membership program is get your entire team on board on why this is good for the business, why it's good for you as our team member, and why it's good for the patient. When we see alignment within the team of the practice, and this goes for any business, for any type of new thing you're trying to implement, when you see buy-in from the whole team, everyone rows the boat together, and you see this wonderful growth curve, right? After a year. But if you got an office manager that's saying, well, I don't want to do this because it's part of my responsibility now, right? Which can happen. It's like, cool, we'll figure out a way to maybe incentivize that office manager. Every time he or she signs up a patient, they get some type of bonus, right? Or maybe a portion of the revenue gets put into a pool and like a savings account, and you go and take everybody out for lunch that participated in growing your membership program.
Right.
I would say the most successful practice is get their team involved, and they incentivize their team to help sign up more patients and talk about it, right? Not because everyone's money hungry. It's because, well, if we help the patient, we help the practice, right? Type mindset. So that's kind of what I've seen out there that the successful practices have done. And then, of course, when it comes to pricing your membership program, most practices will either price too high or price too low. Too low, you don't make any profit. You may get lots of members signed up, which could be a good strategy if you've got a great case acceptance plan
Right.
off, right? But I like to operate off of profitability with everything I do. So if you're pricing it too high, yeah, you're going to be way profitable, but you're not going to be profitable at scale. So there's some type of happy medium. We found that when practices look at the demographics of their area, the median income of, like, I'm in Lehi, Utah. I know the median income is I think $106,000 a year in median annual income. So if I were to do a membership plan in this city, or recommend a membership plan to one of our doctors, how to price it, I would say take that median income and then roughly for your membership pricing, charge like between 0.5% to 1% of that median income, and there's your pricing, which makes sense for the consumer, the patient, and for the practice, right? Our fastest growing practices understand those demographics, which I
Yeah.
think is really, really important. So marketing functions, team functions to get your team talking and getting patients adopted and signed up to the membership plan. And then you can call it demographic or marketing pricing functions, right? That really those are, I would say, at a high level, those three things, you could really grow a membership program rather quickly, understanding those and getting those three working together. Of course, I can spend hours talking about other little details of what practices have done to become successful, but we'll, for simplicity's sakes,
Right.
we'll use those three as the catalyst to expanding and growing a plan, which is probably the most challenging thing that practices have, because they may get distracted, or they may have lots of different tasks they're doing daily. So, but if you can just nail those three things, you will grow like clockwork.
Right. I like that. And I think it's important for people to know that the software is the problem solver, but it doesn't bring the people in. Like the dentist
Yeah,
still has
we
to implement stuff. They have to take action and still
absolutely.
promote
Now
it. It's not just going to come by itself.
we have people on our team called revenue growth managers, and their whole goal is to consult and strategize basically what I just said, but at a more
One to
detailed
one.
level to the practice. Yeah, one-on-one to whatever that practice strategy is. And we've seen great growth when we partner. Our growth team partners with a practice to help them grow their membership program. We see a lot of success with that, where a lot of practices come to us and they're like, this is our first time launching a membership plan, and they're kind of learning on the job. But our customers, it's a customer success team, what we call them, our revenue growth managers. That's their nickname here.
Right.
They do this every day, all day, right? So they can really help guide our practices on growing the fastest, but yes, you're right. They still need to implement on their side. It's not just going to
Yeah, it
magically
doesn't,
happen.
but that's
I
how
wish,
business all works, right? You have to put work in to make
yeah,
business
nothing,
work. Yeah.
not, I mean, yeah, I wish my lawn would be mowed every week automatically, but I mean, even with all the robot lawnmowers, you still have to do something, right? You
Right.
got to, you know what I mean? There's always going to be some type of implementation, right?
Yeah.
So, get your team on board, get the right pricing, and understand your go-to market plan, which our team, they all advise on and help out with.
Awesome. I really appreciate you coming on today. I think this is a valuable service. And just for the
Yeah.
doctors listening, like I am seeking out a new doctor. Maybe I can get my current doctor to do a membership plan, but I would rather be a part of a membership plan personally
Yeah.
as a consumer,
As a
because
consumer.
I don't
Yeah.
want to pay an insurance company money because they're already wealthy enough. There's no reason. I would rather support a small business owner in my
What
community that's living next to me or with us versus some corporation that I have no connection
exactly?
to.
That's one of the things our team helps practice with is understand, targeting small business owners and their employees and getting them to sign up for membership plans because they think like that. I mean, every one of our employees here at Boom Cloud, one of their benefit packages here is a membership plan to Dr. Anderson in Pleasant Grove, Utah, who uses Boom Cloud. So we use that as our company, and it's actually really been interesting as an employer to offer that to, when we hire new employees, we say, oh, part of your employment here, you get a dental membership plan with the doctor down the street, or if you have a doctor that you like that's on our system, you can sign up for his or her plan, and Boom Cloud pays for that for our employees, which is great attraction, employee attraction and retention, right?
Right.
That's a piece of it. So that's another thing that, practices definitely should take advantage of is talking to small business owners and their employees.
Cool. Thank you very much for being here. Is there anything
Yeah.
else that you want to leave as the last word for dentists before we wrap it up?
Yeah, I would say go check out our website. It's you can go to boomcloud.com or boomcloudapps.com. Both of them will take you to the same place. We have a lot of free resources. We have our latest ebook. It's called the $1,000,000 Membership Plan, which goes into details of how practices are growing and launching their membership programs. We also have the Fire the PPOs course that we've done with some of our partners, and just a bunch of free resources that you can take advantage of. And then, of course, you can schedule a demo to see how our software platform can help you launch and grow your membership program. So go hit the schedule a demo. It's a hot pink schedule a demo button on our website. Click that, and you can talk to one of our team members who will dig into the details of your practice and help consult and get you set up on our software platform.
Awesome. Really appreciate you being here, Jordan. Thank you.
Yeah.
And everyone, I really hope this is just another dollar that you can find and bring back to your system and into your life, and you control it, and it just empowers you to be bigger. So take advantage of it, take action on things, and live a big life. Thank you, Jordan.
Awesome.